The polls, they get better for Peter Dutton. There's a couple of warning signs there, particularly when it comes to the gender breakdowns. But interestingly, that gender breakdown also was about 18 to 34-year-olds, which generally speaking is skewed left. The actual headline of that story was, if there is a bunch of blokes that are moving, that might nullify the overall loss in that area, while 35 to 55 and 55 plus is moving towards a coalition. So I think some people intentionally at times misinterpreted how all of that worked. But where we sit at the end of January, how do we sit here, Bronwyn? And what do you think about people's those people telling Newspoll, the coalition voters, my most likely thing that I think is going to happen, we're going to win a majority. My message to those people is, great, settle down, help it happen.
Yeah.
Help it happen.
That's it. Dutton has a chance to do it. It's not an easy chance, but he certainly has a chance. And I think he will do it, whether it's in his own right or in a minority. It's got a feel about 2010 about it.
It does.
It really does. And I was pretty confident, being in the middle of that campaigning, that as I went from seat to seat, you could gauge it. The feel was there. There was a response. And if it hadn't been for the two treacherous ex-Nats, then Tony Abbott would have been Prime Minister then. And he would have been Prime Minister then with a smaller backbench, which actually would have made it easier for him.
Yes, correct. Than many of the people whose full-time job was to pop round to the Ghost's office in the first 3 years. Joe, you're an Albo whisperer. You are at the very least aware of what they felt was working for them 3 years ago. When you have a look at these numbers, again, if you're a betting man, literally the bookies are saying that there would be a change of government. However, sort of the 30,000-foot political thing is to say, well, 76 without the Teals there, it's all a bit difficult. Your sense?
Yeah, I think you can get lost in the weeds on these things and breaking down little demographics or, looking at the seat by seats. I know.
Thank you. I do it every night.
No,
I'm joking.
I'm very much a vibe guy.
I'm so with you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you.
And the vibe, the momentum is clearly with Peter Dutton. You'd be mad not to recognise that. Labor will do a very sort of intensive sort of tactical seat-by-seat campaign. I've said, I'm not sure if it's even been published this, but it's a contest between sort of strategy and tactics. Labor run a tactical campaign.
Nothing new about that, Joe.
No, of course not. But Dutton will be selling the big picture of this country is broke, we're going backwards, everything's screwed, and the only way you can fix it is to change the government. I think if there is a rate cut, which I'm, literally hoping and praying for, I think Albo can scrape home in minority. But, a senior Labor sort of mastermind said to me just earlier tonight, I think Dutton is right to be favourite. I think he should be favourite. It's very hard to see a scenario in which either side gets a majority. That's not saying much.
And again, not enough people talk about the idea that 10%, 15% of people sit in other, and other can be independent or One Nation or something else. That is a huge, which means preferences matter. If that other preferences back to the Libs, they're going to win an election, right?
That's right.
If they don't, then they're going to be back where they were.
It still goes back to the question of the Teals to a degree, and as I say, there's no blue in Teal; it's all green. And we've got one of those in McKellar. We've got a good candidate in James Brown, who led the protest against the council.
How can I not ask? 40% increase in rates. That is red hot.
Seriously, 7 people voted for it, or 8 people voted for it. Well, those 8 people need to be voted out.
Yeah.
And then I get really bloody angry, pardon me, because...
Look at... Hang on. Whoa, she's working blue tonight. Keep going. No. She's really bloody angry. Get in there. Rip in. Do you want some Bundy to fire it up? 63% tax, but get in there. All right,
the
go.
anger was towards Don Howard because he didn't allow us to have any Liberal candidates
That's right,
stand in the election. And this is what we get.
The dog ate my nomination for.
I
just think it's fantastic that no matter who the Teals back in government, I think they're kind of screwed, aren't they? Like if they back in Dutton, all the Greenies...
The lefties will run away. They cop it at the next election.
If they back in Labor, all that sort of, doctors' wives, that...
Absolutely.
That old, the trust fund...
But I'm having conversations in the electorate that I couldn't have had 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Where I'd be in a shop and I literally made that statement looking at a leather handbag and the proprietor said, well, that comes in teal. And I said, oh, no, not teal. That's all green. There's no blue in that. And a couple of
Will it be
people
a faux
standing
leather
around, they
handbag?
all said, yes, no, we don't want any teal. And that wouldn't have happened.
Yes, well, no teal in this jacket. I'm just wearing it green because, whatever, rock and roll.
No milk in my teal.
Thank you. Do appreciate it. We'll talk about other big issues, including a bit of UN banking and the rest of it next time we reconvene.